Hello, welcome to Piff's Golden Hour, starring me. But what?
That was just the strangest opening.
Why? I'm very relaxed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday I was very unrelaxed about a certain mayor and the things that she'd said. And today I'm in a much more soothing and serene mood. You know?
It's good.
And I thought it'd be
Healthy.
nice to begin the show by making a little breakfast. Alex, do you have any breakfast music?
We can get some breakfast music.
You see, it's difficult to tell you just how many emails, Facebook messages, YouTube comments I've had about this bread oven, not a toaster, bread oven, because that number is 0. But despite this, I feel like the more I do with the bread oven, maybe, just maybe, somebody will start being like, oh yeah, I like that bread oven, and this could be a regular feature.
Well, should we start tagging Mitsubishi in the posts?
Yeah, just remember this is this bread oven is by Mitsubishi. It's the TO-ST-1, the toast. And yesterday I mentioned that you could make egg on bread in the toast oven, and nobody believed me because clearly nobody wrote in. So I'm going to show you how to do it today. You just put a slice of toast there. Bread, I mean, it's bread, it's not toast yet. Then you take an egg, okay, you crack the egg into, well, you can crack it directly onto the bread actually. Look like this.
There's going to be shell all over this.
There isn't, because I'm really good at cracking eggs. That's it, you just crack the egg on here, okay, and then you, oh no, that's, you start it, and can you, that's it, that's it, that's all you have to do. And now it's gonna, what?
Is there an egg setting? Or is
Yeah,
it
there's an
just-
egg in there.
No, but is there an egg setting? Do you have to do anything specific?
No.
No.
No, you have to not put it on a slope, which is too late for that, isn't it? I'm also covered in
Do you
raw
want
egg.
some wipes?
Yeah, you got any wipes? Now, the reason I'm slightly more relaxed this morning is because one of the concerns yesterday was that a certain mayor had said something so ridiculous that Las Vegas would be a laughingstock for years to come. Fortunately, the White House had a press conference yesterday afternoon where Donald Trump decided that he would suggest injecting yourself with bleach. The president, not any Donald Trump, the president Donald Trump suggested injecting yourself with bleach to cure a disease. He said you should inject your. Do you understand? He said get some bleach and inject it, and then that'll cure the disease.
I think the phrase he used was to give the good lungs a cleaning.
What? I don't understand what's going on anymore. This is the President of the United States decided to say that you should inject yourself with bleach in order to get rid of the virus. Like, here's the president, here's the idea of injecting yourself with bleach. Yesterday, those two came together. So, I guess the mayor of Las Vegas saying that she was happy to offer up the citizens as a control group to see maybe everyone won't die if we open the city. Or maybe everyone will die, and at least we'll know. That was overtaken rather quickly by the president saying that we should inject ourselves with bleach because maybe that would work. Also, he said that the heat would help too. I don't understand what's going on anymore,
I think there
Alex.
might be some truth to that, but the problem is it all comes back again in September. Then it's not a long-term solution.
But what's the solution? What, you just go outside?
Well, no, because like the the bug can't live in warmer climates.
Right.
I'm not a scientist.
What, so you microwave yourself?
Yeah.
What, you stick yourself in a bread oven?
Tumble dry on.
Oh, this is
on
done.
high.
Bang! Look, egg! It's so good!
That's pretty impressive.
I mean, that is like a magic trick right there. Look at that. Isn't that incredible?
That's pretty good.
And then you just take it. Oh, that was where I got it on the thing. Look, you just take it, and now it's ready to eat. Look at that. Yeah. Instant egg on bread. Delicious. Oh, it's really good. It's like perfect toast with perfect egg. All right, coming up on the show today, we've got James Mullinger. We're going to have a look at a video we sent in a minute, but before we do that, remember, do not inject yourself with bleach.
I now live in a place where I can wait half an hour for the Gondola Point ferry boat. Get onto the Gondola Point ferry boat, get halfway across the water, some moron arrives 20 minutes late. We will go back to get that person. And best of all, and most importantly, every single person on that boat is thinking, yes, this is absolutely the right thing to do. That's why I live here, right there, that's it. It's even worse in the rural areas. I was trying to find a gig in Sussex about 6 months ago. I got lost. I asked someone for directions, and I swear to God, word for word, he says to me, go to the end of this road and turn left at the tree where Donny crashed his bike in '78. Beautiful. And then you clock the perfect line, don't you? The perfect line, the lady with just a basket and one bottle of milk in there, one carton of milk. You're like, this is the lineup for me. So you get in there proudly thinking this is going to be quick. But what you haven't banked on is that Mavis hasn't seen Doris for a couple of weeks. And she wants to know what went down at Chase the Ace last week. In some detail. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been James Mullinger. Thank you all very, very much indeed for coming out tonight. You have been a true delight. You made my dreams come true one more time. I can't thank you enough. I love this city more than you can imagine, and I love all of you dearly. Thank you very much indeed. You guys are amazing. I've been James Mullinger. You've been amazing. Thank you very much. And good night. Thank you, St. John. Thank you. Love you. Thank you.
All right, James, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Where are you? Are you in an attic?
I am. I'm in my loft. Well, it's a loft slash office slash children's playroom. So behind me, you can see Scale Extric and an original Toxic Avenger movie poster.
How big is that furniture? Because everything looks tiny.
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, you know, this is scale. Yeah, I'm in a doll's house. Didn't I tell you that I live in a doll's house?
How big is your chair?
Yeah, it's kind of. Oh yeah, you want to see the chair?
Yeah, can you stand up? Okay, it's regular size. Everything looks ridiculously tiny.
I guess yes. Thing does have a kind of I'm in a loft. It's the only place that I can escape children running around. Shouting at this bizarre time that we find ourselves in.
Is it the perspective of the roof that makes everything look so comically, hilariously small?
I am literally...
You look like Alice in Wonderland. You look like you're outgrowing your own tiny toy room.
This is how the borrowers live. We are in a doll's house. It's gorgeous.
Did you get a Scale Electrics up there so you could dominate a freeway?
That's exactly right.
You just tower above it, crushing small cars. being like, you should have paid your taxes. I don't know why you would say that to a cow. All right, James. Did you see my bread maker?
I did. It made me very hungry. That was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, honestly, it surprised me that it worked. Jade does it all the time. Jade, my girlfriend, she makes egg on bread on this all the time. And I always think there must be some secret thing she did. But no, you just put it in and it comes up with bread or with egg.
Right. And it's funny, my eldest son asks for those egg in the nests every day, and I have no way of making them that doesn't involve burning 20 pieces of bread, ruining 20 eggs. And all along, there was this incredible invention.
$300 American.
Wow.
Plus, you have to spend another $100 on a large transformer for it to turn it from Japanese power to American power. Plus, you have to spend about $80 on 2 previous transformers, which you blew up.
And that's about $5,000 in Canadian. So
it is. Now you live in Newfoundland, right?
New Brunswick.
Is that Newfoundland? No, that's a different place.
Different place. There's 2. Newfoundland is also an Atlantic province, and to make life very confusing, there are 2 places. One is called St. John's, and one is called St. John, both in different provinces.
Wait a minute. Hang on. I thought we were gonna relate, because I've toured all over Newfoundland, and I thought we were gonna talk about St. John's until the cows come home.
And yet I am in St. John. There's been a terrible mistake.
So, oh God, why Canada? This is a problem with Canada. It's so confusing.
It is very confusing, and I will tell you this: everyone makes this mistake, right? Whenever we have people, whenever we have people coming to visit us, they send us their plane times, and it's always to St. John's. And similarly, there are actually, and at least with St. John and St. John's, there's a bit of difference. But there's actually lots of places. There's a Sackville in New Brunswick and in Nova Scotia. It's about an hour apart from each other. And so, yes, when I moved here 6 years ago, many a time I would find myself going to the wrong place for gigs. But I have also toured Newfoundland, so we can bond about that for sure.
How far away is Newfoundland, St. John's?
It is, by Canadian standards, close, but by our British standards, a long way. It's two flights away.
You're kidding?
No.
So that video is you in New Brunswick, St. John's?
Exactly, New Brunswick, St. John, yeah.
I'm sorry, St. John. That must have sounded ridiculous.
No, not at all. Everyone makes that mistake, and I correct you simply because they lose their minds here when people get it wrong. I've seen this all the time, right? Where Kevin Smith came here for a fan convention and had a lovely time and did this lovely post about how much he loved St. John, but he accidentally put St. John's, and there's just hundreds of people commenting, going, "Screw you, it's St. John," and people go mad. So I just thought I would nip that in the bud. You don't want all those comments.
You know what I think would make that angry rant even better is if you could hold a Barbie doll in one hand and swat tiny planes in the other.
That's exactly right. In my doll's house.
Yes. Okay, so you live in St. John's. Is that right?
St. John, singular.
And by the way, I'm used to the anger and rage of the Canadians, because when I played Newfoundland, I don't even know whether I'm saying that right now. Anyway.
Yes, it is.
Newfoundland? It's I understand.
Newfoundland.
Yeah, Newfoundland. Yeah. It took me like a week to learn how to pronounce it, and people were furious. I was saying Newfoundland. Newfoundland. And they were like, "No, it's Newfoundland. What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm sorry. I didn't make up your ridiculous names that all sound alike and are 2 flights away from each other."
Exactly. So you've experienced this before.
Oh, yeah. I've experienced the rage.
Yeah, well, it's the same with it's same when we say Toronto, that's how it's supposed to be said, but because they lose half the syllables and just call it trow, people get mad when I pronounce it properly. It's Toronto, but they're like, "No, it's trow," and I'm like, "Okay, well that's T-O."
Alex, when he goes to a new country, he tries to adopt the accent. So Alex has been saying, what do you say for water?
Water.
Oh my God.
What?
Water. Aluminum.
Get the camera on you, Alex. Look, let's give Alex some words. Alex, I'm gonna get you to say butter, water, aluminium,
and orange.
orange. Yeah. Off you go, buddy.
Butter,
Hi,
water, hello mate, aluminum, what, an orange. I think I still say orange. How else can you say it?
How else do the Americans say orange?
well, my wife says orange. It comes out as orange. Mirror's another one.
What?
Mirror. Yeah.
Mirror.
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 Mirror comes out mirror.
Millwall. So, Alex, how do you say Toronto?
Toronto.
What? No, you don't.
Yeah.
See? It's from his dealings with Torontonians, he has learned to say, and I actually find sometimes I'll say to people, they'll say, where are you going next week? And I'll be like, Toronto. And they'll be like, where? And I go, okay, wow.
Drow.
Well, that's why I learned to say water that way, because otherwise in a restaurant you order water and you don't get it.
No,
yeah, they're very confused.
I tell you what, I used to order coconut water a lot, and I used to get Coke and a water.
It's true. We do have to affect certain things. I mean, do you find when you go back to England and speak to people and you're saying things like garbage can or trash or indeed any word that is different, everyone in England kind of gets mad at you for being all Americanized.
And they go, "Oh my God, you're so American now," and I'm like,
Yeah,
"What?" And they're like, "Oh my God, you just talk like an American," and I'm like, "Wow, I apologize."
Yeah. Just because you said garbage man and not bin man.
Yeah. No, I try and like keep the words apart by the ocean when I go back. But even when I try, it doesn't work. People just get furious at me. Oh my God, they say in Scotland. Now you moved to Canada 6 years ago, which is about the same time I moved to America, actually.
Yeah. And I remember when you moved. And
were you there? Were you at the airport waving me off?
I was literally following you. I was and you've obviously I mean do you love living? I saw in one of your previous
James, this interview is about you, James, all right? Don't use your investigative journalist powers to turn it around back on me. Because before you were a full-time comedian, you were a journalist for GQ, weren't you?
That's right. Yes, you're turning it back. Okay.
Yeah, believe me, I understand. Don't think you can distract me from your tiny doll's house.
I'm a big fan of yours, you see. There's a lot of questions
No, it's not going to work, all right? You're not going to Jerry Seinfeld me. Okay. Now, I first heard about you through that interview you did with Jerry Seinfeld. You did it was a comedy issue for GQ.
That's right, yeah.
And you ranked the greatest comedians of all time. Is that correct?
Yes, something like that, yeah.
And who were they?
That's a good question. Jackie Mason,
yeah.
Seinfeld, Chris Rock.
Yeah.
I believe you were on that list.
No, this was before. No, this was before I knew you. So that you're excused for that. You very kindly put me on a list of like funniest jokes or something.
That was it. That's what I thought we were talking about. Yes, in the comedy issue, we basically went out and photographed and did videos with pretty much at the time. So Gary Shandling, Jackie Mason. Yeah. So yeah, it was quite an incredible kind of few weeks of basically.
One of the comics was called James Mullinger. How do you know him?
That's a good question. I'd heard good things about him. Right. I was a big fan of his work. I'd been following him for some time.
Wow. And you thought, I've got to give this guy a break.
This guy deserves a break. This guy can't just be, can't just be bigging up all of these newcomers like Robin Williams. He needs to,
He's got to, like stake his credibility by saying, "Hey, James Mullinger, Jerry Seinfeld, two peas in a pod." Now, are you BFFs with Seinfeld now?
I wouldn't say that, and he certainly wouldn't. But I would say that we forged I wrote for my 30th birthday. My wife decided to spend our life savings buying us tickets to go and see him live in Memphis. This was many years before there was any indication he might perform in England. And this was she was my girlfriend at the time. And I realized this is definitely the woman for me. If she thinks it's a good idea to blow every cent we've got flying to Memphis just to see a comedian that I like, then we need to be together forever.
I like the trust you had in your girlfriend at the time to give her all your life savings.
Well, yeah, true. We were living together, and yes, her powers of persuasion are incredible. And when I say our life savings, I had nothing, she had some.
Right.
And
you'd adopted her life savings like children.
Exactly.
You were like, no, let me take care of these savings and house them and raise them as my own.
and they would just constantly shout at me every time I tried to spend the money. You're not my real dad. It was this terrible.
Yeah, God, no
terrible
wonder you're in the doll's house.
And I wrote about that experience, and Seinfeld saw read the article, and I don't know, appreciated something about it, and then agreed to do an interview, which I did with him over the phone. He liked that, and then I was able to talk him into doing this big comedy issue where we did a film with him, we did all this stuff. And as you know, I mean, every comedian loves Seinfeld, so once we had him, everyone else kind of fell into place. But Seinfeld in some ways inspired my move here in the last time that I kind of sat and had a face-to-face with him was about a year before I made this move. And I did ask him at the end of the interview, I said, like, so what was it that made you quit the TV show Seinfeld when it was at its kind of critical, commercial, and you know, it was at its peak in every possible way. It was getting the best reviews. They clearly hadn't run out of ideas, and they were being offered more money than God to do another season. And I said, why not do just one more season? And he said, it's simple, James. He said, that's because that's what everybody expected me to do. And then he said, that's a good life lesson. He said, make a list of all the things everyone expects you to do and do the opposite. So 6 months later, I was on a plane to St. John, New Brunswick.
Turning up at the wrong airport, probably.
Turning up at the wrong airport, exactly.
On Seinfeld, the TV show, there's a really good thing where George is like, oh, I do these meetings and I always get like one or two big laughs, but then I ruin it, you know, by like keeping going. And Jerry's like, just do what I do, just leave. Just like, if you get a good laugh, you just walk off stage. And suddenly he gets promoted through the company.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
That's
beautiful.
Kind of how it works in magic tricks. Like, if you get a good like end to a magic trick, you can always like get off stage. That was what got me through the first couple of years of comedy when I was terrible. I always knew that I had an end to a magic trick in the pocket, so I could like end with a magic trick and say thank you, good night, and it gave the impression that it wasn't as terrible as it had been.
Right. It's true. It is that terrible feeling when you have that moment. The worst feeling is when you have the moment, you realize that was the joke you should have left on, and then you don't leave. And then you realize 30 seconds later, I'm not going to top that. And then you try for a bit, and then you realize, no, I'm just going to have to go now. And then, but then, of course, you can make the joke that like some comedians like to leave on a high and then just walk off.
That's not much of a joke. That's more of an observation of fact.
Of awfulness. Yeah. Well, audiences love that when you point out how terrible you've been.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's why comedians don't like magicians very much, because magicians can always leave the stage with some sort of dignity, whereas comedians, you're either leaving the stage on a high or you're walking off to silence. There's nothing in between.
Yeah, that's true. Whereas you know you've got two things in your arsenal. You have two skills when you're up there. We have just the one. So if that one's not working, we're screwed.
Yeah, and I also have a tiny dog, so I can just say, hey, if you didn't appreciate this, I can take it. But the dog, no, his heart will break. So not for me, but for the dog. Piff the Magic Dragon.
So really, the rule of performance should be that have as many strings to your bow when you're up there as possible.
I prefer to call them crutches.
Crutches, yeah. Crutches.
Gimmicks, you know. Now, what do you think the differences are between the UK and the North American comedy scene? Because I've toured all over Canada, and it's very similar to the US in terms of like structure or how you perform, or whereas in the UK it's totally different. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, there's so many differences and there's a big difference, of course, between the Canadian comedy scene per se and America and England as well. In in Canada, there's very, very few kind of incredibly successful or well-known Canadian comedians that have stayed in Canada. Like they generally have to leave to become huge, which is obviously just not a good. It's not a good thing. I mean, and again, I did the reverse thing that most comedians do. Most comedians leave Canada, whereas I conversely came here. But yeah, I think
because all the other comedians had left. You were like, wait, gap in the market.
That's basically what I thought. I thought gap in the market. I also thought I knew for a fact that there wasn't a single other English comedian living in Canada. So I thought, well, if you're a firm or a club or a theatre and you want a British comedian that lives in Canada, there is one. It's good to be the only thing, as you know. It's good to be.
No, I had to leave England because it was covered in magic dragons.
Exactly, too many magic dragons.
You couldn't go on. You know, you get to a comedy club, okay, where there's Dave the Magic Dragon, there's Tony the Magic Dragon, there's Bill Burr, there's Clive the Magic Dragon. I was like, oh God, all right, bump Bill. I'll go in the middle.
I need to go to a country where there's just one Magic Dragon. No, very smart. I think the biggest difference, and again, this is obviously generalizing, and of course, I'm also applying this to the fact that in England, I was primarily playing, obviously, clubs as opposed to people weren't coming to see me; they were going to a club. But one of the main differences is that, and it sounds like a weird thing to say, but in North America, comedy audiences do come out to laugh and have fun and enjoy the show. And by that I mean so often in British clubs, especially now when I go back, what really stands out is that there's a lot of people in that room that do not seem to have come to laugh or have fun.
To be fair, I agree. But also, when we were playing America immediately after America's Got Talent, like they would announce me and the whole room would stand up and they would be like shouting and cheering, and I would have to wait like 30 seconds to a minute to be able to like say hello.
Right.
And then I played Edmonton.
Yeah.
And we sold out 12 shows in a week, which is like the most number of shows they ever sold out of that club ever, to this day still. And the first night, they said, Piff the Magic Dragon, and I had to walk maybe like 20 meters. And by the time I got halfway to the stage, the entire audience had stopped. And I walked on the stage in silence, and the audience were looking at me like, okay, let's see what this is.
Right. Yeah. Is that Rick Bronson's comic strip?
Yeah.
Yes. See, that's so funny. My first weekend when I moved here was there. And I think that's unique to there.
Oh, is it? To Edmonton?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the others haven't been so bad. But there's still, it's a market difference. It's like if you're Goldilocks and you find the English too cold and the Americans too hot, you'll find Canada just right.
Canada's right, exactly.
They have the perfect amount of cynicism and optimism.
Yeah, it is the perfect mix. Yeah. I mean, it's like they always say, it's we are the. It is, yeah. I couldn't put it better. It is the perfect synergy. America's too much. England's not enough. What do you find now?
America, because I carry this cynicism inside me. So it just, people are so optimistic out here, and everything's possible. And as soon as it goes in my ears, I immediately take the edge off that, and I'll be like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's true. Where else? And how do you find audiences in the rest of?
No, James, no. Okay, this is about you, James. All right.
Okay.
Did you eat any food with Jerry Seinfeld?
No, we shared. We had a Starbucks latte each.
Who purchased?
I think I did.
Okay, how tall is he?
I'm not sure. I mean, he would.
James.
He would probably find this room very small.
Everyone finds, even I would find that room very small, and I'm literally fun size. I'm the Tom Cruise of Comedy Dragons.
Let's just see how. Does it look like I'm a giant now?
Don't deflect. No, you're deflecting again. I want this interview is about you and no one else.
Okay.
Is Jerry Seinfeld 6'5"?
No.
Okay. 6'4"?
No. I wouldn't say so.
6'3"?
No.
6'2"?
I would say 6'1" at most.
Okay. All right. Good.
would be a guess. Yeah.
Okay. What did Jerry Seinfeld have in his coffee?
That is a good question, and I don't know. In fact, his may have been black.
I actually drink my coffee black, so.
Oh, well, there we go. See,
Yeah.
you and Seinfeld, you're linked.
Yeah. Now, do you consider yourself a Canadian at this point?
I am applying to become one. I'm a permanent resident, but yes, I do consider myself. I consider myself an Atlantic Canadian, which is definitely it's a very
What's an
different
Atlantic
thing.
Canadian?
Well, so Atlantic Canada is the 4 Atlantic provinces, so which are Newfoundland, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island. So the 4 provinces on the east coast, which is obviously the closest bit to England. And being an Atlantic Canadian is very different. It's almost, in many ways, it's the forgotten part of Canada. I mean, just to use a general example, like lots of the national newspapers don't even deliver here. They also don't even have correspondents that are based here. So really, if you live here, you kind of get ignored by the rest of the country. And it's also the most, it's also the most sparse. Like, everyone's self-isolating now. We all are already self-isolated by living here.
Yeah,
It's also the
put you in the attic.
In the attic, exactly. Cheapest property, cheap. Everything's better here. It's just what you need when you escape London.
What are you drinking?
Water.
In a that looks like
In
a
a giant-
10-foot glass. It's like of all the things that are out. Oh my God.
Everything's out of perspective. Let me find some other things that are not the size they should be. No,
Now-
that's it. That's it.
Where's he gone? That's it. Is he gone to? Oh, he's back.
I was hoping to find some other things that are the wrong size, but
How did the journey go?
which journey?
Oh my God. The journey that you just went on. It's just like it didn't really seem to occupy much of your time.
Yeah, no. When I looked around, I think this is it. This is it for the wrong size things, Pops.
I'd like to say thank you that you're wearing a jacket.
Oh well, I got dressed up for you.
No,
I'll tell
I
you
know
what I
it.
do.
Oh, he's off.
This will help us get things authentic. Here we
What's
go.
that?
It's Seinfeld.
That's
we
comedian.
can see.
Oh, that's a poster for comedian.
It is.
And
I don't know if you can.
okay, is it
Can you
signed
read that?
or
It's
something?
Yeah, it says James. Thanks so much. And it's the greatest tagline, I think, for the movie.
Without a doubt,
Why can't I
it's
get
the
this?
most horrifying movie you'll ever see if you want to be a stand-up comedian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. It's like
And
Jerry
all the
Seinfeld dying over and over and over again. Jerry Seinfeld dying. Jerry Seinfeld is going on stage and dying. Meanwhile, there's another guy called Orny Adams who is showing you everything you should never do in show business.
It was him I was actually opening for at the comic strip, funnily enough, that weekend in Edmonton. Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't come across well in that movie, but I'm sure that also serves the movie very well. So who is he? Yeah. You like Orny?
Yes, very nice chap, very nice chap. Nothing, and of course the movie was a long time ago, and we were all a bit like that when we started out. I mean, not
we're all
as much
100% like that up here, and the whole thing is can you not let that out? That's the whole game. It's just like, can you not say that? All these thoughts, it's like, hey, try not to say that thing you're thinking right now. That's basically how to get through years of stand-up comedy. Don't say this. Just don't say it.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. All of the bitterness and anger and spite is there. Right. It's just don't let anyone know.
No, redirect it at children. That's what I do.
That's exactly right.
I just unleash it on an unsuspecting 7-year-old.
that's what I'm having to do, and even more so now that I'm being expected to educate them.
Yeah, you have to teach your own kids.
Yeah, in theory, yeah.
What do you mean in theory?
Well, I'm supposed to be, but it's not working well. Like they're 6 and 9, and I ask them to do math, and they have a meltdown, and I wonder if they do this to their teachers at school. I have no way of. I'm actually thinking of making them follow Trump's orders and drink bleach just to
Inject
get them out
bleach,
of their
James.
house.
If you're going to do it safely. Inject bleach. Don't drink
Yeah.
it. That's ridiculous.
That's going to be the in theory, if that worked, then you could in theory eat it. That would be the 2020 speedball would be eating a bat and injecting bleach at the same time. That's the 2020
Is a
speedball.
speedball that it cancels itself out? Is that what a speedball is?
No, a speedball in theory is crack and heroin mixed together, which I guess do cancel themselves out in some way.
I mean, it's got a good name, but I think that's where it started. Now, we both started on the open mic circuit in London. What do you have any gigs that stand out for you when you were coming up there?
Yeah, I mean, quite a lot, and it's funny. I mean, one of the things that I've been kind of forcing myself to do is for a long time I've been trying to write a book about kind of my path to come to Canada and starting out in comedy. So I've been reliving a lot of that recently. I mean, there's we all kind of remember the first gig. For me, I mean, one of the worst was unquestionably being booed off stage at. I basically started out and did that. Jimmy Carr did that thing, Comedy Idol, and the final was at the Comedy Store, and so I've been going for about 6 months, and suddenly I'm on stage at the store, being filmed for this extra on Carr's DVD. So a very unrealistic, like, oh, this is how it's going to be. And long story short, I got a Saturday night open that went fairly well. So I got a Saturday night open spot for about a year after that, and you remember how you'd have to just wait forever for these spots. And I basically started, and again, we all know it's a weird thing when you tell your partner you're about to start doing comedy, because you're basically saying, oh, hey, you know how we don't see much of each other now? Well, I'm now going to be out every night traveling around the country doing gigs. And they go, oh, well, at least we'll have a bit more money. And you go, no, we're going to have a lot less, because I am not going to be paid for at least 4 years. And I'm going to be spending £100 a night on hotels and trains and so forth. So anyway, I hadn't seen my then girlfriend, now wife, for many, many months, and basically invited her to the store, is the point, for this open spot. No. Yes, and I was like, come and see how much I've progressed, and be the big night, because I'm gonna, I mean, you know where this is going, and come and see how much I've.
No. The great thing about James is he's going to pick it up exactly from where he left off without even dropping a note. I'll be like, hey, I got to the point where you raised your finger. You'll be like, oh yeah, I remember. All right. You're going to get him back? This is a problem with
there we go.
Am I back?
We're back. He's back already.
Okay.
I got to the point where you raised your finger at me.
Okay, that was just what the gig was like. Literally frozen. I'm obviously nervous, but I'm doing that terrible thing we do when we're starting out, which is try and mask the nerves with overconfidence. So I bound out on the stage, and anyway, long story short, all 400 people in the store boo me off after 7 minutes. And I'm just, I mean, it's just what I think. It starts off badly. The chatting starts and the booing starts. And as I came off stage, Mickey Hutton was emceeing and about to bring Sean Collins up. And I walked through that tiny little store dressing room, which is small, like this doll's house. And all the other comics did that thing where they kind of stepped, but they wouldn't make eye contact. And they stepped away as if my unfunniness was contagious. And I walked out. And I saw my then girlfriend, no, I've sitting there. And I said, look, we better go before this gets violent, kind of thing. And she said, yes, I agree, but do you mind if we leave separately? Can you go first? I just don't want to be. That definitely stands out. And,
she was right.
She was absolutely right. Oh, and also, as I'm walking out, I'm listening to Mickey Hutton do impressions of how bad I was. Which, again, he was in the right, because he had, as the MC, he had said, you're going to love this next guy. And they didn't. They hated me. So had he not addressed it, they would have not trusted a word he'd said for the rest of the night. So he was doing the right thing. But he, being told by your girlfriend to leave on your own, and as you skulk out of your big break that you've been waiting a year for, listening to someone get laughed by doing an impression of how bad you were. That was a low point for sure.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, it's just horrible. like with comedy, you just don't know whether things are good until you say them in front of people.
Well, that's it. It's pretty much the only art form like that, in that no guitarist is expected to have their guitar lessons on stage. And yeah, so when we're starting out, it's the double whammy of the material is new, which is still hard to do now, even after how many years experience we have testing new material. But when you're starting, the material's new and you're new, and you've got to basically every.
Oh my God, we lost it. Wait, this is why he needs to move to Trow, where the internet is wonderful, and the vocabulary is shorter than it appears to be on the page. Oh, he's back again.
Back.
Are your children cutting off the internet to you?
I think that's probably what it is.
Why wouldn't they let you hang your Jerry Seinfeld poster that he signed to you?
That's a good point. Everything's just propped up round here.
Oh my God!
Temporary measures.
These kids. Now listen, you shot a special at St. John's. St. John?
St. John.
Singular?
Yeah. Singular, yeah.
St. John. Oh my God. You shot a special at St. John, which we saw a bit of. Now people can watch that for free.
Yes, I after the lockdown, which again obviously a terrible day for everyone.
Can you sound like you mean it?
Yeah, well, see, it feels like quite a balancing act nowadays, because, and rightly so, because of course the reality is that people obviously have and are dying of this terrible thing. So it always feels very odd for comedians to be going, "Oh God, it's terrible. I can't."
But you just say it sincerely, James.
I know, but it sounds terrible because I don't want to complain about losing gigs, but there was that day, and for here it was the third.
But you're not complaining yet. You're just saying how bad the lockdown is. I mean, I realise that you look like an overgrown man in a tiny doll's house of toys with a ridiculously large glass. But you could still try and put a little sincerity into it.
You're right. It's a terrible time.
No,
but...
you've still got a smile on your face.
Okay. It's a really...
Don't go the other way. Oh my God.
It's just...
You've still got a smile. You're still smiling. They are. Those teeth are too white. That's what happened. You came over to North America. You were like, I'm going to polish up my teeth so they look like, I don't know, horse bones.
Horse bones?
Yeah.
It's your analogies that people are watching for. It really is.
Yeah, it's like you get a horse, you wait for it to turn into bone, and then you polish those up. It looks like James's teeth. I think I'm thinking like horse's teeth, and then I was thinking they're like white, but I don't know. There was no logic there, but...
No, it makes sense. Yeah, so to answer your question, the stand-up special was originally for Amazon Prime, but then after the lockdown happened, people were asking me to do quarantine gigs and so forth. And at the time, I wasn't keen on the idea, so just thought, well, I'll release the special for free, and then everyone will stop asking. And then the fridge got empty, and then I started saying, okay, I'll do all the quarantine gigs.
You've done quarantine gigs?
Yeah, I've done quite a few now, actually. And
what's a quarantine gig?
Well, like doing gigs like this, but via Zoom.
We're not paying you. You understand this?
Yes,
We're not stocking your fridge. I'm just showing off my luxury bread oven here. I'm not going to send one to you as a thank you. I'm sure Jerry Seinfeld would do that. Did he send you a thank you?
Well, that picture, you've seen it.
That was it. Okay. He sent it framed, did he? He sent it fully framed?
Oh, he did. I did the framing.
Right. And did you give him the poster?
No, he gave me the poster.
Okay. Well, he just happened to have a full-size
poster.
Well,
he sent it to me afterwards. I don't think I think it was probably someone that worked with him's idea.
Right. Okay. And it came in a poster tube?
Yeah, came in a tube, yeah.
All right. That's something. Well, I'm not putting this in a tube. You're not getting it, all right?
That's fair enough.
But yeah, no, I have quarantine gigs.
I have done them, and it's interesting because it's obviously it sounds like a nightmare, and it's like anything in this job, it's kind of a learning curve. And I will say, I mean, there is some, whereas normally, obviously, when we're on stage, we're kind of craving and needing the sounds of laughter to, fulfill us and propel us and all the rest of it. When you're just looking at little pictures, you're just basically looking at these little pictures of people kind of laughing, and that's the boost. And I mean, the first one I did, I said I'd do half an hour and then turn the comments on and people could heckle and ask questions. And I was thinking, how is half an hour of talking to a computer going to be? It's going to be a nightmare. And then suddenly I looked at the clock and I've been going for an hour and 10 minutes. I was loving it. And it's the dream. And it's the dream because you finish your gig and there's no flight home after. There's no traipsing back to the hotel. There's no afternoon sound check. I literally finish the gig. My wife hands me a glass of wine and a piece of pizza and I'm on my couch. I actually hope this lockdown carries on forever.
See, this is this is what I knew you were hoping when you were trying to sincerely say that this was a terrible time and people were dying. Meanwhile, a big smile was crossing your face because you were thinking of wine and pizza 30 seconds after finishing your show.
Yeah, honestly, there's, I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't going to do them if I didn't think that it could be done well. And since people seem to enjoy it, I've carried on doing them. But there is something to be said creatively that I've found interesting about the fact that I am definitely the type of comedian that again, obvious thing to say, but chases laughs. Like if I start going down an avenue that on stage that the audience don't seem to be enjoying, I will quickly shift gears and go down a path they do. I'm not someone that wants to push buttons whereas the funny thing with doing it to silence is you end up literally just doing talking about the stuff that you want to be talking about. And it's quite and you have no, there's no, nightmare. Yeah, no, life is a nightmare, but it's just finding things that work. And this is what was more of a nightmare was not doing any type of performing it was the point at which I realized that it was the longest that I hadn't done a gig for since starting in 2005.
Right.
So I thought I've got to get back in the game somehow, even if that means cutting off the kids to bed and talking into a Zoom thing.
And you do the gigs from your doll's house?
No, I actually do it downstairs. I hold a microphone and everything. It's not plugged in, but I hold just I could hold a hairbrush. It wouldn't matter.
Oh my God! Can we play? Let's find a cure, guys. Even if it's injecting bleach, maybe it'll work.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll work. So. Yeah. We just need a control group. I volunteer Las Vegas to inject bleach daily until this disease has been squashed and James and I can get back to being in front of real people as opposed to holding fake props in an oversized room. All right. So how do people see your special, James?
It's literally on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/James Mullinger comedian, I think. Look at that thing. This is a very slick operation. I've been doing a lot of these. You've got it nailed.
Yeah. I mean, it's come on leaps and bounds daily. And
it's very admirable.
Admirable. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Admirable.
Yeah, that's a compliment in Canada.
Yeah, it's one of those compliments that you feel like suddenly you're doing worse than you realize. You're like, admirable? Oh, I thought this was going well.
It's admirable that you're bearing with it and pushing through.
Yeah, right. That's very admirable. That's like, when a kid broke his arm and still managed to spell his own name. You're like, oh, that's very admirable that you push through.
Is that not the situation we find ourselves in? We are all the child with the broken arm right now.
Oh my God! One last question: do you sculpt those eyebrows?
They are definitely getting bushier since the quarantine.
Right. When you get your haircut, somebody trims them, do they?
Well, yeah. So he'll take them down a bit with the razor, but they are definitely. I would say I'm about 4 years off looking like Eugene Levy. Levy?
No, I like it. They're very good. They're very good for gesture, you know, for
They look,
conveying your.
don't they? They look dyed black.
Yes.
They're actually not dyed.
Wow. No, it just makes it very difficult for you to be sincere.
No, no, look, I can do sincere. Look,
No, you can't. That's not sincere. James, that's just, there you go. Let's leave on a happy note. I'd like to say thank you, James, who is currently trapped in his children's attic, unable to hang any of his belongings and lacking food. If you want to get James to talk to you from a distance, email him. He'll probably do it right now. That's what he says. He doesn't even need to hear the laughs. His special is out. Go to his YouTube channel, James Mullinger. Even he doesn't know what it is. So just Google James Mullinger Comedian. Thank you, James. Tonight on the show, we've got Chris Kattan, maybe, from Saturday Night Live. Maybe. He was supposed to be on Tuesday, but maybe he'll be. We're going to pre-record it so that we're not there like hung out to dry in case he's. But I'm sure he'll be there. So we're going to do that tonight, and then we'll show it. We're going to do it this afternoon. We'll show it tonight. That'll be 5 p.m. And that's it from me, Piff the Magic Dragon, my bread oven, Mr. Piffles, the Jade Simone who's sleeping. We'll see you tonight. Where's the volume on that?